So tell me, how do you successfully raise money?
I think the lessons which I learned are the following. First of all, I think you need to have several alternatives. So you need to have plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D, because as you go, for example, what happened with us is as we were fundraising this big round, it took us way longer time. And this is another lesson that you have to build in a period of like 2-3x larger than what your potential investor tells you it's going to take. So like multiply it by 2 or 3. This is probably what it's really going to take. And so if you are going through this process, you might just die because the money, you run out of money in the process. So you have to run smaller processes in parallel to make sure that if it takes you really longer to do this round, then you have some smaller alternatives which you can feed the company while you're on this big mission. Then it's what I also found very important is you have to be a very active listener, especially on the deals where you have different interests. And for example, with us on the one deal, we had a financial investor and a strategic investor from industry. So, and these are two very diverse set of interests. And it's not that they just don't like each other, but they just have very different perspectives. And in order to sort of marry them, you should be as a company, as a target, you should be the one who is trying to unite everybody, because I think it's sort of mostly your interest to combine this deal and to make this deal happen. And then I would also very closely look at the decision-making structure for each investor, because they're really different for different investors. And sometimes you get rejected, but you don't really understand why, because it seemed that everything went well. But that just means that there were some other people whom you didn't take into consideration, whom you didn't take on board. And that's why you have to, I think, at least for us, it worked, that you have to be to really carefully draft sort of the map of power, if you may call it this way, of who is in the decision-making process, and make sure that you address everybody and just not hope for just luck. Okay, of course, luck happens with somebody, but I think for us, we just know that not us. So that's why we work. But I think if you work hard, then you actually do get some luck, but you have to work hard before. What else? Then I think you also have to be very diligent and very careful about your business planning, because as these deals usually take a very long time, then people actually see whether you are performing at the level that you showed them. And for us, I think it built a lot of confidence when we came with a business plan, and then it took us more than a year to make the deal happen. But our investors saw that we are doing this business plan, that we are delivering, and I think that added a lot of confidence to the deal. And then I think the last thing is creativity, because we had last minute problem where we had one of our investors suddenly not being able to participate due to some regulations, and then we had to be very creative about creating some different structure where we would invite some other investor, whom we had to find very fast, like within a week, to fill this gap. So I think you have to always be prepared for some unexpected things happening, and to be creative about closing these gaps rather than just walking away.